that we welcome you with a pule this evening. I'm going to call on Trustee Akaka.
Test 1, 2. If we can all bow our heads in prayer, e pule kako. E kia kua manaloa me ke keiki, a me ka uhane he molele, e nā umakua, e nā ikinia kua, a me nā kupuna o ka kua pau. Mahalo yet again for bringing us all together as one ohana. We pray that all that are going to be joining us this evening arrive safely, and when this is all pau, that we return to our respective homes safely as well. Mahalo for bringing us together so that we may share with one another our mana'o and how we can collaborate and do more together to improve the livelihoods of our Po'e Hawaii, our Maui community, our Maui ohana here on this Moko Maui. We pray for the continued safety and health of everyone here, and that you keep us all close to our ohana, our ancestors, those that continue to guide us along the way, and that we may find solutions to go forward for a brighter future for our Hawaiʻine and our Po'e Hawaii. And we pray that you guide us along all the decisions that we have before us. Amama uanua lelena pule lele vale aku. Amen.
Amene. Aloha kako. I would like to call tonight's meeting to order. Let the record reflect that today is Tuesday, August 6th, and it's 6:07 p.m. I'm going to call on the board secretary to call roll call of the trustees.
Trustee Ahuna.
Eu.
Ew.
Aloha mai kako.
Present.
Eu.
Eu. Present.
Present. Present. Mahalo. Checking. Too loud now. Aloha, everyone, and welcome to our Maui Island Community Meeting. We are so happy to have all of you here this evening. Our ohana from Lahaina, we welcome you with all our hearts. For Ahahui Ka'ahumanu, mahalo for coming this evening. And all others from Maui, mahalo. At this time, we, in honor of our Lahaina people, we present to you Halau o Kamalu o Kalehulu under the direction of Kahulu Maluo. A big mahalo to Halau o Kamaluo Kalehulu and my eldest daughter, the Kumuhula. Before we begin, I would like to ask each trustee to introduce themselves and their staff at this time. We'll start with Trustee Akina.
Mahalo. Aloha mai kako, friends. Aloha. I'm trustee at large Keli'i Akina. I'm accompanied this evening by my trustee aide, Ruben Sierra. And I have to tell you, while I have been on your beautiful island many times and have visited all places, including Lahaina, today was the most meaningful experience for me because I was able, in the company of my fellow trustees, to spend time on the streets of Lahaina. I can't tell you what feelings I experienced, but one of them is absolute admiration for all of you here on the island of Maui. Over the last year, you have met tragedy with courage. You've turned sorrow into hope, and above all, shown all of us in Hawaii and across the world what resiliency is all about. I take my hat off to you. I'm humbled to be here tonight. And I thank you for being here, taking the time to join us. We need to hear your mana'o. We need to hear your questions. And it is an honor to serve you in the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. Madam Chair, I also want to say mahalo to you as trustee of this island and as the chair of OHA. Thank you for arranging our opportunity to visit and to experience a little bit of what our beneficiaries here know. Mahalo.
Thank you, Trustee. Trustee Akaka.
Mahalo, Chair. Aloha no. Aloha pumehana. I'm Kalea Kaka, and I'm honored to serve as your OHA Oahu trustee, as well as the chair of OHA's Committee on Beneficiary Advocacy and Empowerment. Much of what we do in that committee is regarding advocacy for you, our Hawaiian people, as well as what that means legislatively. Joining me this evening is my kokua, Nathan Takeuchi, right over there, as well as my ohana, my husband, there in pink, Tyler Akaka, as well as our baby Ana Kapuahi Lehu Aiviua, right over there in pink as well. I want to say mahalo nui to you all for joining us this evening. We're so humbled and we're so grateful for you to join us so that we can we can hear your mana'o and see how we can best collaborate together to see what is working and what is not working and what these next so many weeks, days, and months look like together as an ohana and as a unit. I also want to mahalo nui our board chair, Hulu Lindsay, for putting together this amazing set of meetings as well as the site visit that we had to have that special opportunity to go through the streets of Lahaina today. It was very memorable, it was very moving, and we were reminded just how precious life is and seeing how we can hark back to what has worked in the past in terms of what that looks like, where our ancient abilities are able to meet what the modern technology has, to see what we can do there. And I want to mahalo nui our dear Hailama Fardin for orating such a wonderful tour from here in Kahului side all the way to Lahaina, and him being able to speak on all the ancestral knowledge that he carries from our ali'i to our kupuna, and him lovingly speaking of his ancestral homeland of Pumana. So that was very, very special for us to have that, this rich background here. And I want to mahalo nui to our board chair's staff, as well as administration and our Maui office team for making all this possible so that we can join you today. And just mahalo nui to, again, for everyone for joining us. We're very much looking forward how we can continue to stay on the pulse and see what more we can do together. So mahalo nui again for joining us. Aloha no.
Thank you, Trustee. Trustee Brickwood, Galataria.
Aloha. Aloha, everybody. So happy to be here. And I will again say, as I do at every meeting, Madam Chair, I would kindly ask that the words of the previous speakers be entered into the record as if they were my own. Okay. All right? And then on top of that, today was an extraordinary day. I assume the other trustees, our hearts are full right now. And it was, to have a beautiful hula, to have the halau welcome us in such a way, just adds to how extraordinary today has been. But we're here to do business too. So we got 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we're going to listen twice as much as we speak tonight. So if you got something to share, please do, because we want to leave here to make informed decisions for the Lahui. And so with that in mind, we appreciate your aloha, your kind and gentle manner. But if you got to come up here and rock and roll, do that too. Okay, mahalo nui loa. And oh, by the way, I'm Brickwood Galutaria, and I represent the entire, at large, you get to represent Maui too. So I'm your rep as well. Aloha. Oh, and the staff. Kyla, and Leanne Durant. And they're my bosses. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Trustee. Trustee Ahuna.
Velina mai me ke aloha o Dana Huna ko inoa no kapa'a mai au. Aloha, everyone. I want to take this time to thank all of you for taking the time to be here with us, especially those online tonight. I would also like to say, give a big mahalo to our chair and her staff, and also our CEO, Stacey Ferreira, and her staff for kakoing us today on a wonderful visit to Lahaina town. Joining me today is my aides, Mele Moniz and Anuhea Diamond. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Ahuna. Trustee Waihe'e.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Aloha, my friends. I am Trustee John Waihe'e IV. I'm trustee at large. I really want to thank all the staff and all the hands that put this meeting together. I especially want to thank our lovely chairperson and Maui trustee Hulu Lindsay for her hospitality and for taking us out today on an extraordinary site visit. I want to especially thank all the beneficiaries joining us in person and online, especially those from Lahaina. I am truly honored and grateful to be serving you. So once again, thank you so much. Oh, and my staff, my office manager, Melissa Winahan, is over there.
Trustee Alapa.
Aloha. Oh, can you hear me? Oh, yes. Aloha. And my name is Luana Alapa, and I am the trustee for the island of Molokai, Lanai, and I am so happy to be here. Big shout out to my friend, longtime friend back there, former Miss Hawaii. This is Lehua. Aloha, Lehua. I would like to say, unfortunately, though, I did not, and I was not able to participate in today's field trip to Lahaina for, let's just call it there's this airline that I have to deal with every week, and I can't get out from Molokai or back to Molokai, and my flight was changed, and I was not able to arrive at the earlier hours today to partake in the field trip. So I got in after the fact, and thank goodness some of our aides here were able to take pictures and videos and so forth to share with me. But I do share definitely everyone's thoughts and prayers as we go through this incredible recovery period. And I hope and pray, and again, everything is up to our man upstairs and the way he sees fit, the way Lahaina will recover. I would like to, at this time, acknowledge my staff. That they could kindly stand up so everyone can see you because they're on the end here. Please stand up. Summer, where's Summer's sword? Oh, yeah, she's back there. She's already standing. Say hi, Summer. And then, of course, another one that came on board on this Pohai. Pohai is a Molokai girl, so Pohai. Ryan, thank you, Pohai. Everyone, I hope we have a wonderful evening tonight. Mahalo.
Thank you, Trustee. Trustee Souza.
Aloha mai kākou. Malo Auntie Hulu. You're not Chair Hulu today. We're in your island, your Vahipana, your Auntie Hulu. I look forward to your beef stew tomorrow morning. I know we had kalua pig and cabbage, but it's beef stew tomorrow morning, so you guys better show up. I want to introduce one of my team members, Rochelle Kim. As you guys heard, we went to Lahaina this morning. First of all, also mahalo kahulu and halau kamalu'ulu o kalehulu for performing earlier. Mahalo. We did go to Lahaina this morning, and you know, I came to Maui on day number 6 to kind of assess the situation because myself and Rochelle came, and I knew we were going to show up. We didn't know how at that time, but I wanted to see. I heard of some distribution centers, some certain areas they're coming together to provide, yeah? And seeing it today, huge difference, not gonna lie. But we're not there yet, and I understand that. And I'm not gonna sit here before you today and tell you guys that I really understand what you guys are going through, because I don't. Honestly, I don't. But what I do know is that I'm here alongside my trustees and our Kaupohana CEO, Stacey Ferrara, and we do have the resources, yeah? And we're gonna continue to support whatever you guys need. We did distribute some funds, right? We allocated $5 million. To me, that's not enough. It's gonna continue to grow. We're gonna continue to support where we need to. So I'm just here to listen, like Brickwood said earlier. We're here to listen, and please, no scold us. I'm not here to get yellings today, okay? But we understand what you guys are going through, and we see Mayor Bisson starting to get to tell you hi earlier. But we appreciate just to be a part of this community and have those conversations. And I'm gonna tell you guys one thing right now. Whatever the issue is, we're making progress. This organization is making progress, so don't give up on us, yeah? All you guys, don't give up on us. We get some new hires, which I know Stacy's gonna address and introduce to you guys, and I'm glad they're here today. And so I'm just fortunate to be here. So mahalo nui, aloha.
Thank you, Trustee Souza. I'm your Maui trustee, Hulu Lindsay, and with me tonight are my staff. The board secretary is Lehua Itokazu. And my aides are Kanani Iaya and Amber Kalua. I want to mahalo the mayor's office for accommodating our staff in the experience that we had today by going through the streets of Lahaina and trying to feel the spirits of the people that were displaced. Impossible. So we come here with open hearts and open ears so that we can hear the plight of our people. I'd also like to thank Kamaunu, who escorted us today on the bus. Mahalo, Kamaunu. Yes, we thank all of you for coming this evening, and we are here to listen to you. So before Before we do, I want to introduce our CEO, Stacy Ferreira, and ask her to introduce herself and her administrative staff who's with her this evening.
Aloha, aloha ahi ahi. Mahalo, Chair, trustees. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for spending your evening with us this evening. It's my pleasure to introduce to you our staff. I'm going to ask that they stand up so that you can see their faces and get familiar with them. I'm going to start with our Chief Operating Officer, Kehau Pu'u. Our Senior Director of Hawaiian Cultural Affairs, Hailama Farden, Maui Zone. Director of Oiwi Wellbeing and Aina Momona, Kuike Kamakea Ohelo. Director of Education and Culture-Based Learning, Anuhea Awo Chan. Director of Community Engagement, Niniao Kavaihai. Our IT Systems Engineer and Administrator, Daniel Santos. Our Communications Strategist, Kelly Swallow. Back there. Our Multimedia Designer, Josh Koh. Our Genealogy Ancestry Specialist, Lucy Meyer. My Executive Admin Assistant, Sandy Stansel, Maui Zone. And it's also my pleasure to introduce to you Hawaii Island Trustee Mililani Trask's aide, Kau'i Vailehua. Oh, kalamai. And I'm sorry, we have our Beneficiary Services Manager, Ilima, back there. Ilima Kela. Kalamai.
Mahalo, Stacy. First up on the agenda is the status of OHA activities. Stacy, again, can you please go over this item with our people? Lehua, do we have anyone signed up to speak?
No one is signed up to speak on this item.
Okay, Stacy.
Mahalo, Chair. When you folks arrived and signed in, I'm hoping that each of you picked up our executive summary. So this is our compiled by our Research and Evaluation PIA, and it gives a overview of the data of the current state of what's happening here on Maui for Native Hawaiians, and then also talks about what we at the Office of Hawaiian Affairs are also doing here on the island of Maui. If you will give me just a few minutes, I wanted to just share some highlights. So in terms of our OHA funding activities for Maui, we have 29 active grantees providing services on island, totaling $5,599,000 being dispersed. 13 of the 29 active grantees are exclusive just to Maui, with $1.2 million in total funds being dispersed. We have 51 active Native Hawaiian revolving loan funds and consumer microloan funds for beneficiaries, totaling $1.6 million. So there's a lot of funds being generated out in community to assist our families and our businesses. And then 4 months ago, we launched the Kanaho Relief Grant Funds for beneficiaries affected by the Lahaina and Kula fires. To date, we've dispersed 249 payments totaling $1.4 million, and there's still more to do, like Trustee Souza said. I also want to share with you some really exciting and good news. I think we can all take some comfort in knowing that the Office of Hawaiian Affairs will be announcing tomorrow, well, I'm actually pre-announcing it tonight to you folks, that we will be releasing the first of 5 digitized historic Lahaina collections on our Papakilo database. The digitized collections are the result of a collaborative partnership that we started in 2023 with the Lahaina Restoration Foundation. And mahalo ke akua that we started it in 2023 not knowing what was going to happen. And I will have you know that the Lahaina Restoration Foundation lost 90% of their collections. But because we at OHA had partnered with them, we had already started digitizing these precious resources so they are not lost. The first of the 5 collections will go live tomorrow. in remembrance of the 1-year anniversary of the wildfires. The historic Lahaina photography collection consists of 215 historic photos of places and people in the Lahaina area, ranging from 1900 to 1948. The photos range from a picture of the renowned Lahaina banyan tree in 1908 to a photo of the 1943 Lahaina Memorial Day Parade. The release of the historic Lahaina photography collection will be followed by the Baldwin photography collection, 162 records. Then we will release the Baldwin letter collection, 167 records. Then the Pioneer Mill Housing Map Collection, 75 records. And the Pioneer Mill Housing Records Collection, about 880 records. And all the remaining collections are slated to be released later this month. The purpose of Papakilo database is to serve as a vaihona, a repository of the life experiences and the manawa of our kupuna for the purpose of educating and guiding future generations. The collections that were preserved by the Lahaina Restoration Foundation in partnership with OHA will be one of the many foundational pieces that will support Lahaina's residents as they rebuild and redefine their future. To access the Papakilo database, please go and visit www.oha.org/resources. Mahalo.
Mahalo, Stacy. Next on our agenda this evening, we have the Honorable Mayor Bisson that will share a few words with us. I just want to say that in the last year, we've been in close contact with the mayor, and he's always kept us in tune with what is happening in Lahaina, how we can help. So I really want to publicly show our appreciation to you, Mayor, for keeping us involved and telling us how we can help. And we really thank you for your leadership.
Aloha. Do I have to turn this on? It's on, okay. Aloha mai kako. Velina mai pakahia pau. Mahalo no kahele ana mai. Thank you so much for coming to our island and for sharing this time with us. First, I'd like to also thank our Chancellor Louis Hokoana for making this location available for us today so we could come here, as he always does. I know he gets a little embarrassed when I point him out because he's so humble, but he always makes a space available for us, the county as well. So not just for his community, for his college. The chair asked me to just give a brief update, I guess, on what's happening here on Maui. So let me just start by saying what I think is some of the good news for us is out in Lahaina. You may have seen some of this today, but we have, well, let me back up. Back in September, when we were asked how long it would take for people to be able to build back there, we estimated 2 to 3 years because that was the estimate we were given by other cities that have suffered similar tragedies. But I'm happy to say today that there are 20 homes being built right now in Lahaina. There are another 48 that are in the queue that have already been, permits have already been approved, and there's another, I would say 100 and so that are waiting to be approved. So, and that's all due to the fact that the water, which we also estimated was going to take a couple years, as of last week, Friday, is 100% drinkable water in all of Lahaina, and that was just done recently thanks to the work of our water department and, of course, the EPA and the Army Corps of Engineers. So I just wanted to emphasize that. The infrastructure, which includes the wastewater, again, estimating that it would take a couple years, we expect that to be 100% online by the end of this year or at the end of January. I point that out because that's the reason that people can start to rebuild, is because the water and the infrastructure is back. You might have seen some, if you look Mauka to where you folks were, you might have seen a couple of places that are being worked on. So we have the Kala'iola project, which is being headed by the state, Department of Human Services. Joe Campos is running that. 450 units. Those are temporary units. And I believe the governor is going to be here on Friday to give out the first set of keys to the folks up at that area. Again, modular homes, temporary homes. Across from there, Kilohana is the FEMA project. That's another 169 homes also being built right now and being ready for our folks. So there are some programs and some projects that are being done as far as housing. I think that's sort of the biggest news to share with you right now, unless you have any specific questions about some projects and programs we're working on. Chair mentioned earlier today about some of the businesses. We get asked a lot of questions about, I would say 3 things. The SMA, Special Management Area, which is everything from Honoapi'ilani Highway all the way to the ocean. That's all SMA out there. Shoreline properties, and then of course businesses coming back. Our focus in the county has been on residential homeowners, trying to get them back to their lands, their homes. Our goal is to seek safe, secure, stable housing for our folks that are from Lahaina, and our main goal is to get people back to their lands. And so the way we do that is some of the programs I've talked about. But we are very mindful of the businesses that are also seeking help and have patiently waited for us to serve the residents, but they're also ready to come back online. So we're going to have some discussions about how we can help them in the rebuild as well. But I'm going to close by thanking OHA for all the help you've given, not just to the Native Hawaiian community, because the work you've done has helped our entire community, not just limited to those of us who are Hawaiian. So for that, I say mahalo on behalf of the county. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
No questions?
Next
Chair.
up is our
Chair.
open forum for our community.
I wanted to ask a question.
Mayor, I'm sorry, delayed reaction. We have 2 questions from 2 trustees.
Mahalo, Mayor.
Okay.
Mahalo for joining us
Yep.
this evening. A question I had was regarding, I think, a resounding question in terms of, well, when we had toured Lahaina today, it was described as Lahaina in yesteryear was described by the sailors as the Venice of Hawaii.
The Pacific, yeah.
Of the Pacific. And I think the common resounding question is the waterways, the
Right.
return to water and so forth. So is there any updates you could share on us and what that collaboration looks like with the Water Commission and DLNR and county, state, federal, and what that looks like?
Okay, I think I will take 2 parts of that. So a big part that I know the Lahaina community wants, the business community wants, is the Lahaina Harbor. And of course, that's Department of Transportation and Harbors. So I know that they're also just as concerned as we are about getting that going. So that's not a county sponsored project, except we'll help in any way we can help. The DLNR you mentioned, I guess what I'll sort of segue that to is Moku'ula, Mokuhinia, which I know you folks must have visited, some of you today. So that I can say I've been working with the governor. He's been working with us, his departments. What we've come to is an agreement that Moku'ula, as well, whatever lands are owned by the state and that by the county will combine. The state will, I guess, provide those to the county. And we're still seeking a nonprofit or an agency that will take that over. There have been attempts to restore that very, very sacred area in the past. So we have some folks who still have that institutional knowledge of that. What I would say is the challenge is the different groups that have an interest in seeing Moku'ula restored. And of course, many Native Hawaiian organizations. So we want to make sure that we are being respectful to not only the lineal descendants of that area, not just to the town, not just to those folks who have a renewed interest, but those who have put lots of time and energy over the years. So we just want to make sure, from the county's perspective, that we convene the groups that we need to convene, so that we can come out with a good product that everybody will be happy to share in. But I don't think there's any question that we are all on the same page in wanting to return that area, again, known for water running through that area. I know the governor and I are on the same page on having that return to the community.
Thank you. I think when we were driving through the area and then we returned back to this side of the island, well, my personal hope is to see it green once again.
Yes.
Mahalo.
Mayor, Trustee Alapa has a question.
Yes. Molokai nui ahina. So I know you never mentioned the airline, but we all know. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Okay, so my question basically regards of the units, the 450 units you've mentioned, 169 modular homes, tiny homes, and I'm sure there's many others
Yes.
that'll be coming up. What would happen to them after, when the time of recovery is here, they can move back to their place, their original homes? What would happen to these homes? Are you going to repurpose, sell it? What's to happen?
So I have to answer this way. When FEMA does a response in an emergency like this, they can only put up temporary units. That's their charge. Now, when you go to HUD and CDBG and DR monies, that can be permanent. So let me just separate that out. FEMA they do temporary response. So what they put up, they're supposed to take down and remove and restore the land to its original condition. However, in these two cases, those lands are primarily will be returned to the Department of Hawaiian Homelands. And so when that happens, FEMA at the end of this period, whether it's 2 years, 5 years, they can choose to sell those remaining homes at whatever reduced rates they are, or give them to a government agency. So they can give it to the state or the county. And at that point, we can turn them over to folks that still can make use of them. There's other purposes. Kauhale projects is another use that could be found on the island. And I'll just add maybe 3 last things on housing. There's a possibility for FEMA that they're working with FEMA-eligible residents in Lahaina whose lots can accommodate these modular units, and instead of putting them in what they call a group housing, they can put them on individual lots. Put them right on people's lots right now, as long as that person can fit their original home footprint, because it can only be temporary. The state of Hawaii, in the project that they have, which is the Kala'iola project, can do the same thing if they wish to do that. Put those homes on people's lots. Of course, we can work with HCF, CNHA, OHA, if we think there are monies that we can make available to help people purchase those kinds of modular units, whether they start off as temporary, become permanent, or, it really depends on the type of the model that you purchase. And then, of course, the last thing the county is doing is, as a result of the county council, is you can put accessory dwelling units, an ADU, on your property as well. And with the county, we're offering $100,000 in grants for people who do that. There's some programs require you, in order to get that grant, you have to house a fire survivor for a certain number of years. I want to say 2 to 5 years. And then you can keep the unit when you're done. So that goes on people's property. So.
Okay, mahalo.
Yep, thank you.
Any more questions?
Yes.
Trustee Aquina.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And Mayor Bisson, thank you so much for your courageous leadership at this time. It's much appreciated. My question follows on Trustee Alapa's question. A lot of wonderful resources have been flowing in, and I thank you for calling for those resources from federal, state, and county levels. There are many property owners in Lahaina who are ready to rebuild, but they're encountering regulation difficulties, whether it's special management area fees, permit fees, many others as well. How are we doing in being able to clear away the regulatory barriers to make it easier to build?
So what I'll say about SMA and shoreline properties is we've met with families. We've told them they can go ahead and submit. We've already approved 2 SMA permits in that area, by the way. I think the honest answer is that they're individual cases. Some people on the shoreline, their properties may be compromised, and what you don't want is to have an environmental issue come up. I know you folks face this on Oahu, on your North Shore. You folks know the areas that have had to deal with this. So, you know, we're considering things such as land swaps, where people can, you know, move Mauka. But again, I think what we have to really emphasize is health and safety, and then environmental concerns.
Yes.
With sea level rise and erosion. So we take those SMA requirements very seriously, but we are trying to find ways to speed that up, expedite that, so that we can address those cases that aren't as, I don't want to say serious, but don't cause as much issues as we can, you know, and approve those. And those are the couple that we've already approved. So, and we just signed new rules as well, so that's going to take effect late August. So there's a few things happening unique to Maui right now, but we hear the voices of our community, and they have been real clear. Do everything as quick as we can, but as safe as we can.
Thank you, I appreciate that. I won't ask you about other permits and so forth, but
Okay.
I thank you for the direction you're leading Maui.
Thank you.
So, Mayor, before you sit down, is it possible for the governor to do an emergency proclamation on the SMA permits?
He already has. He's already included some of that in his EP. So I don't think the issue is with the governor.
Okay, thank you.
For us, you know, we obviously, we still have county rules that we have to look at. Nobody likes the dreaded EIS requirements that come up. So there are ways we're trying to figure that out too. I mean, I'm not going to put any of my departments on the spot right now, but we get asked these questions every week. We go out to the Lahaina community every Wednesdays, and it's almost as daunting as facing you folks right now.
Yeah.
With tough questions that come out. But we do, we hear the, you know, the recurring themes that we, you know, we need to address.
And we understand that, so we thank you sincerely for your leadership. We know it's hard. Nobody can anticipate this kind of disaster ever. So mahalo for your
No,
leadership.
Mahalo to you.
Mahalo
Thank
na
you all.
Mahalo.
Thank you.
Mahalo.
Mahalo.
Okay, we're going to move into a community presentations. Yeah, I know. And before we do, I'd like to say that today we had a blessing of our new office. And for us, it's new because we moved up to the mill yard. And you know, the person in charge of making that office so beautiful is none other than our mayor for us on Maui, our OHA mayor, Roy Newton. I want to introduce him. So, Roy, can you just share the address of our new office? Okay, the easy thing is next to Miyako Sushi. I think that's what he was trying to tell me. We are now moving on to community presentations. We have Paulo Faleafine Jr., who will be speaking on Keolahou, the Lahaina Resiliency Center. Lehua, do we have anyone signed up to speak on this agenda item? Mahalo. Paulo?
Hello, aloha mai kako.
Aloha.
My aloha to you, Trustee, Chairwoman Trustee Lindsay, for inviting me here today. And all to the honorable trustees, thank you for giving me your time. And especially mahalo to the Honorable Mayor Bisson for everything you've done for this community. My name is Paulo Fleafine, Jr. My nonprofit organization is Namea Ikeia. And it's an honor to see all you trustees again. We have the program called the Royal Hawaiian Guard, which we were part of your investiture at Kauai Church. And so definitely an honor to see you all once again still doing the duties that you pledged to at that sacred space. I'm here to present on 2 projects that we've been working on. The first is Ke'oloho, which means the renewed life. This project came about immediately after the fires when State Representative Ellie Cochran reached out to develop a community hub. The owner of the property, Roger May, and his wife Lisa May, wanted to understand further what could be done. And so instead of it becoming a distribution hub, we reached out into the community to see how it could better serve, because Uncle Kiamoko Kapu had already started his distribution just below near the Sheraton. So we set out to identify what the community wanted and how it could be best served, and we discovered Sacred Heart School was in need. And we'll be presenting a map after this survey. So they just did their opening there in transitioning out of Kapalua to Ka'anapali. But I'll get into that in just a bit. As part of developing this Ke'oloho, which is a resiliency center for the wildfire survivors, one of the things that went out was a survey with the Department of Health, and the results of that survey are on the screens for you to see. We've had 122 participants. Of those respondents, 72 had lost their homes, 81 had lost, 42 had lost their businesses. The services that the community in general was asking for the most was mental health support, with 66 saying yes for that, followed by housing, and then the next closest was physical health care. Another question we asked, which of the following programs would they be interested in? The top program was stress and trauma coping, to help them get through the ordeals that they've faced. Behind that was cultural and traditional practices for the community, and mind you, of course, it's a Native Hawaiian community, Tongan community, Filipino community, Hispanic community, etc. Followed by art therapy as a alternative form for folks to heal, and then doing things like community healing circles. Another question asked was, how important is it for these residents to have a say in their healing and the resiliency center? So overwhelming was from very important to important. A majority of respondents requested multiple smaller healing centers for the community. And where would those centers be? The majority responded in Lahaina town area, followed by Central Maui. Then next was Napili, and then Upcountry with 32 respondents. And then below that, you'll see some statements that were pulled directly from survey respondents, explaining their difficulties and their challenges that really bring a lot of these things home. And so with Ke'oloho, it's been quite a process to bring this center forward. And if we could put up the map, it's located in Keka'a Drive. It's next to the Fairway Shops and the the Royal Kanapali condos. And that's a beautiful area that's actually overlooking the entire Kanapali Resort area. It used to be the AmFac buildings and the TS restaurant Peacock back in the day. And so now that area, 3 of the buildings, you can see B, C, and D. That area basically delineated in red is where Sacred Hearts is now transitioned to. They just did their opening, and thanks again to our mayor, who has been a big part of that. Jem has been a big part of that. And of course, the Catholic Church have been amazing in navigating between Kanapali Operators Association and the condos. And so they're there in that space. Their school hours will operate, I believe, 7 to 5. And then the school principal, Tonata Lolesio, she's part of the Keolaho board as well. She's open to utilizing that space for the community to have after-school type programming or programming that can help whatever the community needs. You know. The rest of the space you see delineated in blue, that is going to be, there's a building called Building A that's about 6,000 square feet. That's going to be renovated for communal use and primarily focused on mental health services. And so that's been a project that's being pushed through, being spearheaded with Dr. Livaday. He was one of the key individuals coordinating on the state mental health side. And then partners that we've been working with on the Office of Recovery to the Mental Health Wildfire Search Team. They've been really instrumental in putting a plan together. Where this project currently sits is we've been working with the Native Hawaiian Education Association with Dr. Hokoana, who is coming on board as a fiscal sponsor to support moving a community grant forward through the County of Maui. And I believe that funding is going to be about $1.4 million to do the building renovation and then pay the lease for the space where the owners, Roger and Lisa May, have guaranteed that use of the space for the next 5 years for the community. So Sacred Hearts and this Resiliency Center will be here to serve over 5 years. Yeah. And so that's been a miracle because it first started at 2 years and then it just grew from there. And so that's up and coming. Projects that we're going to want to seek assistance for in the future will be for community gardens, much like the pharmacy boxes that was started with the Hui Mala'ai, with the Council for Native Hawaiian Advancement. So we envision putting about 20 of them or so in that space. We've been discussing plans to possibly work with the Pu'ukukui watershed to maybe start starter plants there that can help the wildfire survivors learn about growing agriculture and that sort, because there's been studies shown that it helps their resiliency. And so if they can start maybe forestation efforts in that part, getting it started, and then they can do reforestation on the mauna itself, and then that just helps more healing for them. So that's the thought process there. Our organization was also donated a projection dome, much like what you see at the Spear in Vegas. And so it's a dome that has a screen within it. So we're going to definitely need assistance for that. And I think somebody was mentioning the Lahaina Restoration Foundation. So they had actually produced a production about Lahaina, but for a dome-type arena. But now they don't have that area to show it. They're going to show it, I think, in the Baldwin home. And so we have a dome, but we don't have a production to show it in. And so I just saw Theo 2 weeks ago at the Lahaina community meeting, so we're going to be talking story on that. But we could definitely use assistance to get that healing dome up and going, with the idea that it can serve the survivors in an alternate healing space for seeing this production or doing alternative treatments in that immersive environment. And then from there also, it can be an informative space for our visitors that do come, where we can lead them to a call to action about being responsible visitors and how they may be able to support the community. And so a big mahalo once again to the owners, Roger and Lisa May, to the Kanapali Operators Association, who've already created the sign marking Sacred Hearts and Keolaho. So it's real. It's happening. And of course, to the condo owners, who is our neighbors there. So that's that first project. The funding for that project committed, once again, was County of Maui. They've come on board for that. The Rotary 5000, the statewide Rotary, have committed to 200,000. The Sendai Rotary of Japan, before they were hit by that earthquake, they've committed 30,000 to support. And the Kaiser Foundation has also come on board, I believe, with a $300,000 commitment. So we'll definitely need more support in the future over the 5 years for programming and helping our survivors. Yeah. So the next portion, or should I stop there for any questions? I know that was a lot.
Yes, I think you should ask if there's any questions.
Okay.
Trustees, any questions on the Lahaina Resiliency Center? Paulo, please proceed to the Humanitarian Unified Assistance System.
Thank you. The second project we've been working on stemmed from a project we were working on before the fires called the Maui Initiative, which focused on a tourism initiative using technology. So we had a tech team in place developing an app based off of Esri's systems, which is GIS mapping systems. And so by day 2 of the fire, our partners asked how can they help. And what we wanted to do was utilize Esri's technology to basically give our survivors a voice. And this presentation you're seeing here, we just presented it at Esri's global conference in San Diego 2 weeks ago. So we gave them a history on what is Hawaii, what is Aloha, why are we doing this, and more importantly, here is Lahaina, second wettest spot on earth. This town, which was an abundant water source, how does the second wettest spot on earth basically burn to the ground from a fire? You know? And then we gave context into traditional land management practices with the Ahupua'a system and how it kept the land in balance. And then following that, going to an agricultural economy into a tourism economy, it left the land with invasive grasses, it left the land fallow, and then comes a perfect storm with a hurricane and a high pressure system. And that sets the stage with those kaua'ula winds that are legendary. That survivors said they heard that whistle coming from the mountain. And we start with the first fire. And it wasn't until I did this report that I realized there were 5 fires that day. First fire in Olinda near Halekala. Second fire was a morning fire in Lahaina. The third fire was the Kula fire. And then the fourth fire was the major Lahaina fire, which took place. And then the fifth fire in the evening was the Pulehu fire at central Maui. And so sharing that, and then we shared this little clip on 60 Minutes of the devastation of what it did. This is satellite imagery that we then shared. This was before the Waikuli community, right before Leali'i, and then the after of the fires. Then this is the lower Waikuli community going to the Lahaina Gateway Shopping Center, the before, and then our devastation after. Then we have the Mala area to Lahaina Luna Road. You see that's the after image. And then that is the Lahaina town itself. There's your before, and then your after. So when we got to working on the HUA system, the idea was simple. How do we empower survivors so they don't give up hope, so they keep their aloha and say, I'm going to live another day. And for us, the process came to where, number one, people got to know, where are they? Hence, the reason why we wanted to put these requests on a map. Well, we can pause right there so I can talk over that diagram. So the idea in this is where a survivor would be putting in their request into a digital format, or if they don't have that, they would call. That would then produce a ticket of what that need is. It would get inputted into a actual digital map that the world can see that a need exists. And then those tickets would then be forwarded out to case management. And then the next part is those tickets will then be communicated back to the survivors via text, via email, so that way that they know somebody's actually hearing them and understanding what their need is. And then anytime that ticket gets touched, that survivor would be notified by text, by email, that somebody's working on it. Because our current system is challenging for a lot of the survivors, where they'll call 211, and then they'll have to wait sometimes a week, sometimes a month. It just depends on when somebody can get with them. And that, mind you, that was in this initial phase of how things were going. It's gotten so much better now. So this system is currently in its beta phase, you could say. And what we're going to look to do, we've been trying to go for GIA funding and look for support on this. It's been challenging. So we're looking to roll this system out with Kealoha, actually, because we'll have a set list of providers that will be in that space, and then we'll be able to contact the community survivors that do come to us for support. And so if we could scroll down just a little bit more, it should show the digital map. Yep. And hopefully it appears. Okay, I sent you another link on an email with that digital map. Sorry, technology. But that's the general concept for basically a communications platform to keep that aloha and hope alive. We want to debut it at the Resiliency Center. That's already well underway. The prime example from this came in seeing how the Hawaiian community took care of each other after the fires broke out. It was amazing, simply amazing. So we want to be able to keep those lessons learned moving forward, to help serve. So any questions?
Are there any questions from the trustees?
No. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Paulo. If I might add, how many of you might be from Lahaina tonight? Anybody from Lahaina? We thank you for coming. Would you like to have anything to say to the trustees at all? How you doing is what our question to you were. Are you okay? Are you having hard time? Or are you what's happening in your life that you think OHA can help you with? You want to come to the microphone? Okay. Come to the microphone, please.
Aloha. My name is Sonoy. We're a longtime Lahaina family. My kupuna was a teacher at King Kamehameha Third School. My thing is, how do we fill the gaps for many of us? Because many of us are falling through the gaps. For our family, we have a big ohana. Our rental assistance is ending. And I fear that for us to be homeless again. I've contacted and tried many times to find out and sign up for all these different programs. But it seems like every program that there is available, there's roadblocks. There's things that we have, hoops that we have to jump through. Many of us, after this disaster, we found out that we are underinsured. We don't have the money to be able to go back to Lahaina to rebuild. Leaving Lahaina is not an option because that's where our home is and that's where we want to return. So I'm just wondering or coming to you folks to find out if there is help to navigate us and to be able to help us to fill the gap so that we can go back to our home and go back to Lahaina. Right now we're paying $6,000 in rent. That's a bill that we've never in our life ever been able to afford or ever paid for. Fortunately, we're being funded through GEM, but we've heard that it's not going to be continued. So come January, I don't know where our family is going. So I'm just coming to ask to see if there's any help to fill the gaps for us. And I'm sure I'm not the only family that's going through this. Mahalo.
Thank you. We appreciate that kind of comments because, you know, we're taking it back, and as a board, we're going to be discussing to see how we can help, because we do have more money. So I hope that, you know, we can, I encouraged you folks in our message from OHA that we want to hear, the board trustees want to hear how you folks doing without being maha'oe or being nosy. That's not what we are. We want to see how we can help. So that was basically our personal invitation to the Lahaina people. So if any of you have anything to say, you know, we want you to come forward and tell us. No be shame, you know.
Chair. Yeah. I also welcome any one of the ohana here from Lahaina to share the mana'o. And in between that time, I just want to touch on some of what OHA has been doing. I think that's also been the question, what is OHA doing and where is OHA at in terms of the relief kokua? On top of the $5 million that we unanimously voted on in the kokua with emergency disaster relief funds with the grants, and I mahalo you for the mana'o that you shared. Maybe what we can look at is loans or some kind of kokua in rebuilding. But we need your mana'o so that we can do things like that, so that we can do it within our means and within our capacity as a state agency. So in terms of what we have done in partnerships, I know that GEM, Global Empowerment Mission, has been brought up a couple times in this meeting. And from the get-go, there was participation in partnership with Global Empowerment Mission in facilitating the issuance of short-term housing vouchers to those that were displaced by the fires. And that was held at our former Maui office. And mahalo nui to our board chair for helping facilitate that and her team. And that was really crucial where there was immediate kokua there. But we do hear that there needs to be long-term steps to what we gotta look at. So that's where we need your mana'o so that we can partner together and collaborate, and so that we can look at partnering with other entities locally, federally, and throughout the world that wanna help. They just need to know how they can help. The other thing too is that we have in Kaka'ako on Oahu, we have a property called Haku'one. On the Haku'one property, we have a facility there, and we provided that called the, it's a 30,000 plus square foot building in Kaka'ako at Haku'one, and that was referred to as the Maui Relief Storage Facility. This is where the influx of donations that came from all over, those were stored, they were sorted, and as the need and the kahea came in, it was brought here to Maui. So I wanted to share that with you, and that the communication has been constant with the mayor's office, with the county, with our state legislators, our federal delegation, and within the communities with Uncle Archie Kalepa and so forth, so that we know where the gaps are, and we were also advised, let the state do their thing, let the federal do their thing, and let the county do their thing, and we call you guys in how we can kokua. And that's where we came in with the grants that we put forth, and also with the Storage Relief Center and partnering with GEM. But again, we need your mana'o so we can get your guidance, so we can go forward, because our hearts really do want to help you all, but we need your help in doing that. And I just wanted to share that, Chair, so that people know where OHA has been on that, and that our trustees have traveled to and from the various islands to come visit and see how we can kokua and talk with the residents here. Mahalo.
Trustee Souza?
Mahalo, Madam Chair. Moro Kale. You know, personally, I know what we're talking about, but I don't believe in loans. Because looking around this room tonight, we all get loans. Some of us have a 2.3%, some of us have a 6%, 7.5% interest rate, whether it be a mortgage or a car payment, yeah? We don't need more loans, yeah? So if we're gonna give out money, it's gonna be in the form of a grant, yeah? But wait, I'm not making any promises tonight. I'm just gonna tell you that right now because everything is a board decision, yeah? But what I want, because what we do is not enough. I can promise you $5 million right now, that's not enough, even for one individual to rebuild what was lost, yeah? So what I want moving forward, and we're getting the feedback tonight, so I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And I look forward to more and welcome more. But what I want is for all the different organizations, state entities, federal, right? Every single resource out there to come through for us, yeah? And I say us, and like I said earlier, I don't understand fully what you guys are going through, but I know what we can do. I know how much we have. I know what our resources are. Are we gonna expend all our resources? I'm gonna tell you right now, absolutely not, because we don't have. Our goal is to spread it out to every single Native Hawaiian beneficiary out there, right? And do what we can to support the most people we can. But what I wanna do is team up with multiple organizations so that we can be effective. Because you're only good to January. That doesn't help you, yeah? So coming up with real solutions, right? With Mayor, with the federal, everyone in this room, Kapohana, right? Our team, fellow trustees, to figure out the real game plan. Because talk, we're all doing that, right? Only you guys know the real emotions and what's actually happening. So I'm glad we're having this conversation right now. So mahalo, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee. So you can see the love that we have for our beneficiaries, and we're trying to do our work, but we need your help because we cannot read our people's minds. We need to be told what's going on in the community. So I just want to ask, how many of you are familiar with these grants that we talked about, that we gave out? Okay. And have you received the grants, or are you waiting for the grants? Waiting. Okay, I'm going to ask our COO to share what's going on with some of the grants that have not gone out yet, although a lot have, but I just suspected that maybe you didn't get it yet.
And maybe Niniao as well can elaborate.
Aloha Chair, Trustees, aloha and ohana. Thank you all for coming out tonight. So I did get to talk story a little while with these ohana. So we have one who did receive, they all applied at the same time. One did receive and the remaining didn't. Since I've come on board, I've been working with Niniao and her team to look at our process. So we have been making some process improvements, just in the way that we're processing, intaking and processing and then sending out checks. So there were improvements to be made in the way that we're doing the work. And then also we're working on exceptions. So a lot of ohana weren't in the county identified burn zone, but yet they were impacted. Infrastructure has been impacted, they cannot go home, but those weren't part of our criteria. So right now how we're managing that, and I think just last week we got to a good place to have good justification. So right now we're calling them exceptions. We're grouping them by areas. I think Nini Aush pointed out one of those areas to me today where we have multiple residents in a specific area. So we're calling them exceptions using justification, and I think just today even we had some checks being cut and going out. We're gonna send a letter to the board asking that instead of those being exceptions, the more midterm solution is to expand the criteria so that we don't have to go through this second review and get approval. Is there any? So I do want to say, Kalamai, that we are taking some time. I did get the names of the ohana here, and we have more. We'll be very honest. I think we've gotten out 1.5 million so far, but we're making improvements, putting more resources on it, and then again, expanding our criteria so we can kokua those ohana who are outside of that burn zone but have been impacted. Do you want to add anything? Since I'm here, I also just wanted to share this ohana back here that I got to talk with. And they told me they don't like come up, so they did, share a little bit. And one of the things that they expressed gratitude for Kana'aho. I think they were sharing they hadn't seen a lot of Hawaiian-focused programs and supports. And so Kana'aho was something that they were grateful for because it is, for Native Hawaiians. But they noticed that there was a lot for other lahui, Filipino community, Micronesian, and one of the things that they raised was just having simple gathering. So I guess, and this is me, new and not following too much, but it sounds like there were different gatherings held at Civic, specifically for different lahui. And, there's a desire to have something for Hawaiians from Lahaina there as well, which I'm thinking we could do that. But, Oya Waleno, do you guys have anything else to add? Oh, yeah. Yeah, and reiterating what was shared earlier about time is running out.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear the response. Could you summarize for me?
Just the last point. Okay, so Kana'aho, gathering our Native Hawaiians because they've seen gatherings for other lahui is something that is desired, and then time is running out. So like this ohana is January. They're not sure where they're gonna go. Same for these ohana. And in listening to them, they've been moving a lot too. So I can only imagine how hard that is. Mahalo.
Trustee Ahuna.
I just wanted to add, I think maybe we should expand, instead of just calling it the burn zone, maybe impact zone. 'Cause
Yeah.
there's a lot of families that got impacted by it, so maybe we can increase that. And I just want to mahalo all of you for showing up tonight and coming out here and sharing everything that you've said. So thank you so much. I'm sure everyone's going to be looking into this. So thank you.
Thank you.
And do they have any questions that they want to ask the trustee? Those Lahaina people that are here tonight. You have any questions that you want to ask us? We'd be happy to answer.
Oh, the gatherings is, and I asked if others, they said yes, there are others who have the same sentiment.
Okay. So that's something that we should consider.
Yeah, oh yeah, no. Ai paha.
Thank you. So we have several people that have signed up to speak tonight. And I'd like to call on Lehua Bison. Oh, you want to come up and say something first? Wait, Lehua. Kalamai.
This is my daughter.
Okay.
Go to the microphone. Oh. My name is Tepatasi Johansson Sparks. We're from Lahaina. This is my daughter, Sanoi. We got a lot of aloha for all of you. And you folks, I know, are going to help us. But I would like to share, my family and I, a quilt that my mother made. If you folks accept it.
Oh, I knew her. Wow. Mahalo so much. We will, yeah. Yeah. We'll display it when you come to Honolulu. Oh, mahalo. I knew Auntie Wailani really well. Her mother made that quilt, and we're so happy to have it to be properly displayed. Lehua?
Aloha. Welcome to Maui. We love all, we welcome all, and we're grateful. So I'm here with a grateful heart for what I learned you do last night. There was a standing room only crowd at the new office, and we met this lady. And I told her I would come tonight to ask you to please continue your work in genealogy workshops. Because that's the one thing that no fire, no storm, or no COVID could ever take from us. Whose we are, where we come from, what that means to us, that's forever. And I met Lucille Lulu Meyer, and she is 1 in a million. So if you can continue to have those workshops on any island, I think that would help us to heal no matter what our kuleana is, because it reminds us how absolutely fabulous we are. Whether your kupuna is John and Kamaka Kukahiko, or Esther and Thomas Pahukoa, or Richard and Edna Bisson, it matters. We matter. And I think in times when we're hurting, knowing that this is my only living auntie from my Nakoa, pure Hawaiian lineage. But when she's not here, I'll make sure the way she lived, the way she malamed us as her nieces and nephews never dies. That's my oldest son, Buddy, in the back. And he has learned so much and taught it to his children who are Hawaiian, Portuguese, French, Tahitian. Oh my gosh, you should hear us at the house. I mean, the Tahitian grandma win over the Hawaiian one, so I'm in second place. But please do more of that, because part of healing is beyond the funds that Brother said. It's about us gathering, and we made family last night. Nobody wanted to leave, mostly because Roy made the pistachio cake, which is why I came back. And he wouldn't give me the recipe, so I had to come tonight for the last 2 pieces. But genealogy, that's ours. Digitalized or not, it's in our hearts. And somewhere in this world, we're all related. We're all one lahui, no matter what color. And I learned that from Auntie last night. And I told her, I have a day job. I work here. Is my boss still here? I told her that I would come and learn. And I think there's plenty like me, yeah, that want to learn. We're not that old, out to pasture. And I told her I would do it because time with her, she connected the dots in our genealogy through history. It wasn't the .com. It was, how could that happen that you are brown and you have blue eyes and I am freckled face and I got a pure Hawaiian grandma buried in Kenai? We discovered how that happened in our journey. So please do more of that, and it'll help us to get together for a happy reason. There's no wrong way to learn about our family, and that's something we own. Mahalo.
Thank you. Kalani Tassel.
Hello, Mike Kako.
Aloha.
My name is Kalani Tassel. My father always taught me name drop. Some of you may know my dad, Uncle Joe Tassel.
Oh, yes.
That's my father.
Oh.
He had passed me the torch to carry on the mission, yeah, to take care of our people. I have been elected the president for Paukukalo Hawaiian Homestead. And then we'd like to just share some of our accomplishments over there and things that we have planned for the future. I brought my kiaha, so maybe later you can put some lulu in my kiaha. You know, maybe just the crumbs that fall off the table, I take that. Because you guys get big crumbs, yeah? Anyway, these are our accomplishments right now. I do have 2 board members, Scotty Miller and Annette Kailiho. I do have one of my members from my community, Ui Hata. She is with Malama Kakani Lua. They take care of Iwi Kupuna, which we need to acknowledge too, because that's where the knowledge comes from, yeah? From our kupuna, yeah? So the accomplishments, I think I was elected in March of this year. So what we've accomplished so far is we have our community center up and running. It's coming back. It should be done by November, December. That's the completion date. That's the target date. So maybe the next meeting you can come to our community and have your meeting in the homestead itself. We also got the grant for our fence for our park, which is older than I've been at that community. I've been there 30 years. There was a $50,000 grant through the help of OED at the county office through Council Chair Alice Lee, and her staff had walked me through, because I don't speak grant. I don't know the language to a grant. But I incorporate former Commissioner Randy O will hold my hand. We'll go into Alice Lee's office, and we completed that task to get that $50,000 from Office of Economic Development. Thank you. I've worked with Larry Pacheco, DLNR, because we have a homeless camp on our heiau over there. You know, I don't know how that happened, but there's desecration on my heiau over there. Vernon Lindsay is the owner, but there's a big army of homeless people over there desecrating my heiau. And the first 4 months of the year, we had 3 fires. And over there, wind blow Makai to Mauka. And when you come Mauka, there's a long line of Keawe and Halikoa. So in talking with DLNR, with Larry Pacheco, he had made a fire break for us, which is awesome, you know, because it at least gives us a running chance, you know, to combat these fires that this homeless camp is doing, you know, because, you know, got to eat, and they don't have a stove like us, yeah? So unfortunately, everything that's around them is Keawe, yeah? So it's a big kindle to light up from there to Kaikili Highway. So I appreciate that. Currently, my telephone over there. Somebody can grab my phone, please. Currently, we have 187 homes in our community with a population of 975 plus, probably over 1,000 now. I am working on a census in my community to know what I have in my community, so I know how to better serve them as they're serving as president of Paukukalo Homestead. Currently, the average ages are from 0 to 9, 18%, 10 to 19, 16%, 20 to 29, 18%, and the list goes on and on, 30 to 39, 80%, and then we get the kupunas in the 70s and 80s, yeah? So I'm trying to do a census to fine-tune this community so I know how better to serve them and what I have in each category to serve, yeah? Because the need is great, yeah? Future projects that we're doing, we're trying to do the bus stops. If you drive by our community and look at the bus stops, you put 4 Hawaiian boys inside there, nobody else can go in the room already. That's obsolete already. So we're working on bigger bus stops, yeah? Because in the rain season come, the kids all huddling underneath the bathroom in the park, and they get about this much space to hide from the rain, which is coming up pretty soon. Working on grants to get the sprinkler system, redo all our basketball courts, redo the backstops. All of those are over 30 years old. You know, the sprinkler system is gone, so our grass looks like the grass in Lahaina before the fire. That's the same color that we have. You know, before it used to be nice and green, that park. I know we had a playground over there that OHA had contributed, I think was $45,000. It was a $110,000 playground that got burned and the kids went burn them down. But, you know, kids gonna be kids, yeah? That's why we need to nurture and educate our children. Because I grew up in a different class of the children that grew up now. You know, the respect level is gone already, you know? And whose fault is that? That's our fault. That's not their fault, that's our fault, because we never malama them. Because it takes a village to raise one child. And we are the village, you are the village, they are the village, you know? Because our kids today, they lost, you know, unfortunately they lost, and they need their direction, you know? I was taught, my grandma would say jump, I would say how high and how long do you want me to do that, you know? I was taught from my grandma was, when you do something, do with love in your heart and expect nothing in return. Because when you expect something in return and it doesn't come, it hurts your heart. When you most likely need it and you least expect it, then it shows up. My gate, all kinds of stuff come to my gate. Ulu, fish, vegetables, just countless supplies. I keep enough for just my wife and I bless other families with the rest. Because, you know, everybody's struggling out there and everybody's hurting. I'm trying to bring back, we have Huino Calipono coming. We're working with them on a farmer's market and / fish market. They're going to bring in their resources to help educate our community through health and awareness programs to help us restore our community, yeah? Because health-wise, the Kanakas killing themselves at McDonald's. I see the lines long, Jack in the Box, you know, all those guys. We got to get back to the Maui. Yeah, we got to teach our people to have, because when I grew up, everybody had one garden, and everybody would just barter with each other. You know, Auntie, I get tomatoes, what you get? I get cucumber, boy, come bring your tomato, I give you some cucumber. And every household should have that. You know, there's enough garden to feed their family and to feed your community. You know, it's a ripple effect on everything that we do that affects everybody in our lives. From my father and I used to talk about the pohaku that we throw in the pond, and we used to talk about how far your ripple go. How many people in your life does your ripple touch as you throw your pohaku into the pond, yeah? I'd like to also bring back, you know, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts. We also have CPR AED classes coming up. I have grant education classes coming up. My big one is, well, there's two of them. From when you pass Second Safe, you hit Kuhio, yeah? From Kuhio, you drive all the way up to the top. That's a long straightaway, if you notice that. These guys think that's Hawaii Raceway Park. They drive on that road 80, 90 miles an hour, yeah? We have a storage lane in the middle. They think that's a passing lane, you know? So what I would like to do, Waikapu just got their speed tables, and I would like the same thing over there to slow these people down. I mean, these guys, and now we get school coming up, so it's gonna be even worse. I would like to see the yellow flashing lights in Wailea, Kihei. They all get the yellow flashing lights for their crosswalk. But what about the Kanakas over here? We no more. We no more yellow flashing lights over here for cross the street, you know? So I tried to go to the county office to get the speed tables, but they said it's a DOT, yeah? So I got to go to the Department of Transportation, you know? If anybody knows somebody in there that I can contact to get that. And if you come to my community and witness this speed races over here, you can be amazed how fast these guys drive. And the other one, the last one that I would like to do is the old armory. I would like to get that property. That property has been dormant for over 25 years, you know. That's a bigger project, but I would like to offer OHA to have one last move, final home, complete in our community to service. I'd like to bring Huino Kelapona would be looking into coming joining us. I'm working with Aluliki with the Kupuna program to bring the Kupuna program back because, you know, we got to embrace our Kupuna today because tomorrow they might not be here. We need to absorb that knowledge and that love from our Kupuna because tomorrow they might not be here. You know, it's so important because a lot of them are going home already, you know? And everybody they look at me, they thought, no, are you the Kupuna? So I received that, you know? I asked God, give me the wisdom to be a good servant to thee and my community. Every morning I ask God, 2:30, 3:30 in the morning I ask God, all I like is the wisdom and the humility. And let me see through your eyes what you see. But when they look at me, let them see you. To you be all the praise, all the glory, and all the honor. And with that, I go close. And, you know, mahalo and welcome to Moko Maui. You know, thank you so much for coming, for your time, your energy, and your efforts that you bring to our aina and our people in Lahaina especially. You know, our ohana there. So mahalo nui.
Thank you, Kalani.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me share.
Carol Kamekona.
Aloha no, yako kako, kapohana, chair, trustees. I think the mayor's gone, but mayor's sister's here. You send my aloha to him, mahalo. And kalahui. Ko'ino o Karoli kamikona, mamoku o wailuku, no laila, no havau ma kahalui. Mahalo anake, for inviting your sisters of Ahahui Ka'ahamanu to be here. As a member, our mission is to preserve our culture and perpetuate our Queen's legacy. As a recognized cultural descendant of Honua Ula by the Maui Lanai Island Burial Council, a member of Malamaka Kanilua, and intervener currently in a contested case with the Grand Wailea Resort, as mentioned in your executive summary, our mission is to preserve our cultural resources, our vai, our aina, our ea, and our most cherished possession, our iwi kupuna. As an advocate of Maui housing, both sheltered and unsheltered, I come before you wearing this papale. Housing is a right. There are 175 to 200 unsheltered Lahaina fire survivors that our boots on the ground advocates have verified. Of those, 65 to 75% are Kanaka Maoli, who have repeatedly been denied and don't qualify for fire support, even when they're asking for it. Most are Kanaka born and raised in Lahaina. Specific to Wahikuli, prior to the notice to vacate by the county in the past month, 29 people were staying there. 27 were fire survivors, 4 with a home burned, and 23 Lahaina unsheltered. 22 of those were Kanaka. Only 2 were not from Lahaina. In your Kana'ahu grant for Lahaina and Kula, your eligibility is to provide critical support to Native Hawaiian homeowners and renters in the wildfire impact zones of Lahaina and Kula. We are asking for the ability to help Kanaka who were Lahaina unsheltered apply for the OHA Fire Fund so they can have a fighting chance at being housed or replace their cars, which was their only homes that burned. Our unsheltered housing advocates are willing to reach out to those Kanaka to have them apply. noting that all have been certified by 2 agencies that they are Lahaina Unsheltered. In honor of our mentor and manawahine for all unsheltered, mahalo nui e Anake Twinkle Borge. Mahalo.
Mahalo, Carol. Alika Atai.
Aloha mai kako.
Aloha, Alika.
You know, I stand here, I was filling out the form and it asked what organization I belong to. I don't represent any organization except for my family. But I really think about it that I'm here because I stand for the Native Hawaiian beneficiaries that are yet to be born. You know, the creation of the Office of Hawaiian Affairs gives us standing as Native Hawaiians because of U.S. federal law. And I highly recommend a lot of the Kanaka and Ohana to research 3 federal laws. The U.S. Federal Law 1921 of the Hawaiian Homestead Act. The U.S. Federal Law of 1959, recognized as the Admissions Act. This is the act that created the state of Hawaii. This is the act that gives the Office of Hawaiian Affairs standing to represent the Native Hawaiians. And the 3rd federal law I recommend everyone to research is the 1993 Apology Bill. These federal laws supersede county law. It supersedes state law. But I want to highlight and focus the Admissions Act federal law. How did we get there? The Republic of Hawaii gave the U.S. federal government the crown lands of 1.8 million acres. And then the U.S. government, federal government, gave the then transferred crown lands to what they called the ceded lands of 1.8 million acres to the created compact that we call and recognize today State of Hawaii. And that was Article 10 that creates this office. Article 12, Section 6, clearly tells us the State of Hawaii shall provide for the establishment of a pro rata share of all the revenues derived from the public land trust to be expended by the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. This article gives you the task to collect our proceeds. The pro rata share, we recognize, some people say 20%. 20% of all income and proceeds. Okay? I recognize that. And with that, I ask, what or where do we know is the 1.8 million acres of the former Crown lands? Do we have a GIS mapping of the former Crown lands? Do we have a superimposed map of today's TMK maps to say this is the land that was Crown lands? And remember, it says collect all proceeds generated on these lands. So 20%, we go back, do the layering. Our lahui can help you If we know what is the Crown Lands, what is the TMK, we drive around and we say, hey, get some business going over here. We should be getting 20%. That's for us, yeah, as beneficiaries. Today, I think they honored the opening of the gas in Lahaina Harbor, right? We know Lahaina Harbor was the former capital of the Kingdom of Hawaii. We know Lahaina, many lands there, were part of the Crown Lands. Today, can we say how much income is being generated from those lands? Perfect timing. Lahaina Harbor empty. Lahaina Harbor is Crown Lands. Lahaina Harbor is 20% ours. How much money is that? If not, we're like 20% of all the boat stalls. Yeah? Why only give them to the tourist businesses? Why not make Kanaka businesses? Every harbor is Crown Lands. Do we know how much income is coming in from Matson, from Pasha? Do we have that accounting to collect the 20%? I would recommend or suggest that can we get the GIS mapping? And if not, create funding for positions on staff for GIS mapping as well as forensic auditors of these specific ceded lands. Because every year goes by, we missing the chance to collect for our lahui. This heed or this warning also goes to the county of Maui. I want to know all the county of Maui lands, what is or what was Crown lands or ceded lands. And those ceded lands, we, the county of Maui, collects real property tax. The funds that's generated from those real property tax, 20% should go to OHA. That's law. I'm just saying we must follow the federal law. And this is law that says all proceeds, yeah, go 20% pro rata share goes to the operations and directions of OHA. And while we're there, the jurisdiction of the state goes out 3 miles. Yeah? So that is submerged lands that you have 20% barato that we will collect. So my mind is thinking, oh, you know those tanker ships that anchor off there that pumping in the oil? 20%. They're within the 3 mile district. They're doing commerce, all commerce happening in our Hawaiian waters in the submerged lands is 20%. Pro rata share. It says all goes to the Office of Hawaiian Affairs. I say this for the future generation so that you and your future administrators need not no more go on knees and grovel to the legislature. We got to be proactive, and we got to know what is really owed to us. Law, federal law supersedes state law. Federal law says all proceeds, and you get the pro rata share of 20%. Mahalo.
Thank you, Alika.
Chair.
Malia Davidson.
Good evening, aloha mai kako. My name is Malia Davidson, and tonight I'm putting on the hat of the Community Outreach and Resiliency Liaison for the Department of Human Services, the Disaster Case Management Program. So this is something, because all of you represent islands and we have our people that have moved, including those in the state, I wanted to actually in the States. I wanted to just give you some information because I think it might help those who are in the room as well, as I heard some of the challenges that they're going through. So when people see me, they usually see 211. And that is the call number that Aloha United Way on Maui is receiving calls from our disaster survivors as well as those who are impacted. And since the launch in March, we've received over 1,335 calls. Now, disaster case management usually stands up a year after the disaster, as it has happened throughout the country. But on Maui, it started in November. And this was privately funded by American Red Cross to get this program up and running. And so we have been moving along, and since November, we have served 3,526 individuals, and as of last week, we have 1,187 open cases, and these are households that we're taking care of. So it's important, as Mayor talked about Kala'iola and the other projects that are coming online. The DCMP program is important for people, our people, no matter whether they're here on Maui or they're out in the States or they're across Hawaii, to call in to 211. And I'll also give you the number for those who are in the States, and that would be 808-ASK, A-S-K, 2000. And this program takes care of all those, not only from child care, but appliances for their houses or cleaning their houses or making sure kupuna are taken care of, or mental health even, that this program is going to be in place for at least, we know, for 5 years. And this is something that has been ongoing throughout the nation. However, Hawaii is so unique. And all of you and all of us in this room play huge parts in not just Maui's survival. It's every disaster that comes from here on out. Because Maui is doing it in a way where we're documenting what's going to happen to make it better the next time for the next group of people, whether it's the floods on Kauai or it's another set of fires on Hawaii Island, whatever it is. So we're all contributing, not only tonight, but every community meeting that's been happening since the fires. The mayor created those community meetings. So one of the things that is a highlight that I just wanted to say, we had a small nonprofit just last week that came with $3,100 gas cards that we sent out as quickly as we got it. Today we had a presentation to the long-term recovery group, the very first case that has come from the DCMP. So what happens is the DCMP exhausts all of its resources for the survivors, and anything that's left, we take it to the long-term recovery group that has been up and running and has been gathering as many resources as they can. These are private individuals, funders from across the country that say, okay, they look at this case and say, we can do this, 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 and this for this person. Today we did our very first case, which is 14 pages long, by the way, bringing home a family and their car because they found a place back on Maui, they have a job on Maui, they've been brought home, their car is being brought home. These are the successes that will continue to happen because we're all paying attention, and we all have like 5 different hats that we wear, right? We're all paying attention. So I wanted to present this to all of you as I heard Mayor and then Paulo presenting, because this is something that can be utilized throughout Hawaii and your constituents, wherever you are. And all of those who are in the room, if you have not called 211 yet, please do so. This is important. As Kalaiola is online already, and I believe they've finished their first 100 units. The people who are in Department of Hawaiian Homelands, as well as those in the disaster case management, will get the first priority. So thank you very much for all that you do. Mahalo.
Thank you, Malia. Lucky Ka'ahumanu.
Aloha mai kako.
Aloha, Lucky.
Kaulaki, kauamauno. Just wanted to share about OHA offering Hawaiians assistance. For years, I was the kahu at Harvest Chapel Church there in Lahaina on Prison Street. Everything is gone. I tell our people, we gotta let the things that have gone, put it in the past. Because we gotta imua kako, press towards the forward, because we don't know when it's our time. And too many have passed away that have really touched my life. And today, what are the chances after 30,000 weddings, God would choose me to be on Modern Family Hawaii TV show? And that old actor guy, Al Bundy, he told me, Lucky, you do a lot of weddings, you gotta be funny. I said, you're a funny guy. Now they see me in the new movie, Aloha with Love, with the actor, Branscombe Richmond. He wanted me to be there to kanikapu, blow the conch shell, do the ole, and then play ukulele. People don't realize how much of an importance Keakua has chosen you to touch somebody's life. Because all those God that used touched my life. Whether it be Uncle Richard Ho'opi'i, the list goes on. Ned Ka'apana, Dennis Pavao, we're always the kanikapila, even Cousin Is. Now, if to die is to gain to be with Christ is far better, I would rather die and go. But the Lord said, shut up, I'm trying to reach the rest of these lolos. You're the only lolo I know I can use, reach them, whatever. But what are the chances God would have me, the only one that make all these? Because Tutu Vahini, Grandma said when they grew up here, they never had coffee cups. They took the bamboos up to the river to go get water. Then they said, what the net about? To remind us Kanakas, we still fishers of men. A lot of them had passed on. Now I'm the only one making the fisherman hook to put them on the kukui nut lei. Because the Lord said, follow me, I'll make you a fisher of men. After 30,000 weddings, people come from all over the world, they want a Hawaiian. I tell the tourists, you know what this means? They say, yeah, shaka, hang loose. I said, that's for you tourists. For us Kanaka Maoli, this means aloha. And aloha means, everybody repeat, always, love, over, hate, always. No more Hawaiians, no more aloha. But no more keakua, no more love. God loves you and He's blessed you to put you in a position to fulfill His will, to help in those that you were chosen to touch. somebody's life. Why would God have me make this? To encourage our Kanakas. Listen, you need to be proud of who God made you to be. Because if it's not true, then why would our last monarch, Queen Liliuokalani, said, forgive them. They don't know what the hell they're doing. I gotta believe you know what you're doing because God chose you to be in the position. Because when it's your time, you gotta stand before the one that paid the price. Because the Lord said, somebody touched me. And the disciples said, what you talking about? Everybody throwing themselves upon you. And he said, no, I felt the manna, the power leave me. What are the chances that Wahine would come up? She said, within herself, if I just touch the hem of his garment, I'm going to be made whole. Well, why would God have me make my CDs that's now going all over the world? Oh, God, help me, I lost it. This is my new flyer of my new book coming out, From Fields of Green to Prison Greens to Heaven, Jesus Set Me Free from Captivity. Coming back from the war there in Vietnam, a lot of my friends and my cousins passed away. We never know what PTSD was about, post-traumatic stress disorder. Why do we have to go fight for another country's freedom when we need to stand and fight for our freedom here? When I came back, what are the chances? I was growing pakalolo and great-grandpa land down in Kihei. I got busted. And Judge Cardozo said, well, since this is your first offense, Hawaiian, I give you 5-year probation. Well, just before finished my probation was up Makawao. This undercover would set me up. He said, hey, Brother Locke, you can help me. I said, what? Can you get me pakalolo? I said, my friend and I was in Vietnam. He growing them. As soon as I gave him to the guy, I walked away. The undercover cop went, come out, and they arrested me. I stood before Judge Cardozo, and he said, since you now finished your probation, Hawaiian, I'm going to make one example of you. He sentenced me 50 years in Halava High Security Prison. In that cell, I got on my knees. I said, Lord, if you can use somebody as stupid as me, get me the hell out of this cell. I will serve you. After 22 months, instead of 10 years minimum, I finished my seminary course from Church of God. What are the chances God will open the door and release me? I became the head kaho there in Lahaina on Prison Street. We think God don't know what the hell he's doing. He's trying to get everybody's attention. Then Governor Cayetano cleared my record. And Judge Cardozo that sentenced me said, Kahu, I like you pray. Pray about what? I like you be a part of my drug court. I looked at him and said, you the guy who sentenced me for growing pakalolo 50 years? What the hell for? He said, Kahu, a lot of these guys, they know you. And I'm believing if God set you free, maybe you can share with them the great testimony of what God's done for you. What are the chances they call me out for go do the blessings up there in Kula? And this guy gave me one box because they're doing aquaponics farming. I looked at him, I said, thanks, bro. You own all this land. He looked at me and said, Kahu, this is Oprah Winfrey's land. I gave her my CD, will you marry me? I said, let her know if she want to marry one Hawaiian, call me. Because people come in from all over the world. My CD of 30,000 weddings, will you marry me? Going all over the world. Now they're paying my wife because she's the owner of the company. We've been sheltering over 33 years. This is all Kihoalu with Uncle George Kahumoko playing slack key, but all scripture reference to healing. 20 years ago, I married this couple here, and the wife called. She said, Reverend, can you renew our vows? Her husband had cancer. She wanted to renew the vows before he passed away. I renewed the vows. I prayed over him. I said, listen to the CD. It's all scripture reference to healing. 1 month later, they sent me the letter. Reverend, thank you for the CD. The cancer is gone. Listen, God doing miracles. And we need to have him reveal what he wants to do for our people in Lahaina and all over the world, because we don't know when it's our time to die. And if this is the last day for you, I pray God continue bless you for putting you in the place. Because this is all Kiho'alo Hawaiian music, Uncle George, but it's all scripture reference to weapons of warfare, because our prison's filling up, because our people rather go prison, get a place for sleep, 3 meals a day, watch TV, instead of sleeping on the side of the road with our government not helping any of our people. Then let God deal with them. These are my 3 new recorded songs. I know she wants me to get the hell out of here, so I gotta go. God bless you guys.
Thank you, Lucky.
So, anybody
Mahalo.
want that? No? Which one? Purple. Yeah, catch them.
Robin, Kelly Inohomoku.
I'll take a red. It was always the show and tell class. It was always the best, yeah. So thank you, Uncle. That was amazing. I enjoyed listening to you.
Robin, would you move that from the front of your face? Thank you.
Anybody wants this? Velina mai ke aloha. Mahalo to the staff of Maui OHA office and our Maui trustee, Auntie Hulu Lindsay, and all of our OHA trustees for coming here this evening. And my classmate, Mr. Dan Ohuna. Today is day 364. In 2 days, it will be 1 year since the wildfires hit Lahaina town and also Kula. And it displaced over 11,000 families or people and destroyed 3,971 homes. So this week is a very important week for Maui. It has changed the lives of everyone on Maui. The fires in Lahaina impacted everyone. My name is Robin Lehuanani Kia Li'inohomoku. I'm the president of Nakia'io Maui. We are the only Native Hawaiian-led organization helping to provide emergency supplies and disaster relief since the fires in Lahaina. We were at the shelter and then at 150 Hana Highway helping to distribute and sort products throughout the islands. And we supported 38 hives and hubs around the island. He li'i ka aina, he kaua ke kanaka. Land is chief, and we are its servants. And we are only as healthy as our aina. And aina needs vai. They indeed need each other. And as you saw today, trustees, as you travel to Lahaina, there is a lot of healing to do. Our people and our aina. So, you know, we talked about housing, and Hawaii has always been in a housing crisis, and we too here in Maui are in a housing crisis. Before the fires, we were in a crisis, and since the fires, we are in a bigger crisis. In 5 years, which is going to be 2028 since the fires, Maui will face a bigger housing challenge. 85% of the families displaced were renters. This is part of that gap group. Our Hawaiians are being impacted and moving away from Hawaii. And as Carol Lee mentioned tonight, the number is 65 to 85% of our Hawaiians that are displaced. I mean, that number is astounding. It's astounding for me. So beside the $5 million that have been committed to help our Native Hawaiian people of Maui, we hope that more grants will be provided and more offerings for our people are made available to help with housing. The reason this issue is important is because Maui needs to heal. And the healing will only happen when our people have a home to stretch out their legs. The situation is about souls and lives. It's not about really houses, although housing is important for healing. But our islands have been here for millions of years, and a person's average lifetime is only 75 years. So how can OHA provide financial assistance and other support to our Native Hawaiians in a short time we are on this earth? Mahalo for your time, and thank you for visiting Maui.
Thank you, Robin. Our final speaker is Kala Tanaka.
Aloha mai kako, honorable trustees, Kale, so nice to see you all. So interesting of how I came here tonight. So I'm the education director with the Hui o Wa'akaulua. We are a Hawaiian voyaging canoe nonprofit. I'm sure you may have heard of our canoe Mo'olele. She is the whole reason our nonprofit in Lahaina came to be. Her canoe builders, Anakala Levan Sekera, the Lindsay Ohana, some of the very famous captains, Uncle Leon Sterling, Auntie Joanne Kohanamoku. I don't need to tell you, folks already know who they all are. And sadly, she transitioned in the fire as well too. She was there at Pakala, there in front of Moku Ula. But I'm here tonight because of one of my past students who kind of urged me to come and just share what we're doing and continue to ask you folks for support. So as the education director, we were so thankful that this past summer and spring break, we were able to do an education program. In the name, you can kind of understand what it is that we teach our children about, which are our voyaging history, because as you know, Maui is filled with very famous voyagers, such as Uncle Leon and Auntie Joanne, my father, Kalepa Baibayan, Anakala Snake Ahi, Archie Kalepa. Maui is just the grounds for just the birth of great voyagers. And we continue that with our voyaging organization in that legacy to educate our children. And so, successfully we were able to deliver, 4 sessions of programming all about voyaging, where we teach our children the history of voyaging, skills, navigation, and of course who their kupuna are, and bring them so that they can learn from them, because our kupuna are so important. They are what connect us back to where we come from, our ancestors. We, our makua, are holding the space to open the door for them, because they're going to take the helm, they're going to take the steering blade one day, and they're going to be our future navigators. So it's very important. And so, I'm here today to, continue to ask you, in forms of grants, of course, that you support I consider us an AINA-based organization. So AINA-based organizations that are of the community. They are in the community. And just like as previously said, we wear all different kinds of hats, to get into the classrooms and support our kumu and teach our keiki, so they know who they are and they know where they come from. And when they're in your seats, they use that as a way to help to steer them so that they can make pono decisions for our future. Another hat that I wear, because I get time, I am a Kula Kayapuni in Lahaina at Lahaina Intermediate School. This year, though, I'm the only Kumu Kayapuni, And so that says a lot, that our Kayapuni, our children, they need our help, We need you guys to continue to support our Kayapuni o Lahaina as we navigate our future and determine what our future is going to be. Certainly in the form of strategic planning. Last year, we went to another campus. We didn't want to go back to school, and so we worked with some of the haumana that also didn't feel comfortable going back. But, in that one space, we had our kulaha'aha'a, our elementary students, and our intermediate students together, and I felt that support from my fellow kumu. But this year, I'm back in school, but I'm by myself. There isn't another kumu because of positions having to move and enrollment. So as we continue to, and I feel this aligns with your strategies, 1 and 2 especially, empowering our Kayapuni Ohana and our kumu to determine what our future should look like. And I think probably in the most immediate is in the planning. We need, strategic planning, kokua, But thank you folks for coming today, hearing our voices. I just want to say I 1000 kako'o what everybody else has said. Housing is the priority. And they're all different strands. I'm just one strand. But I support everything that everybody else has said. Mahalo.
Thank you. Mahalo Kala. Our final speaker is Claire Apana.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Aloha. Aloha, everybody. I just noticed that in your report, the report here for Maui Island, you have the Grand Wailea and some of the concerns about the burials that have been disinterred, found on the property, and what you don't have is that they're asking to expand this hotel, and when they expand the hotel, they will be digging into the burial ground once more. And what is so important about that, and for anyone who doesn't know yet, is that the only reason the hotel, the Grand Wailea, was able to be built there in a burial ground, a known burial ground where they were finding Evie, probably by the hundreds every day, is because the Office of Hawaiian Affairs signed an MOA, a Memorandum of Agreement, which became the mitigation for receiving their shoreline management access permit. Without it, no building of that hotel. So the people who signed that, your predecessors, did not know that what they were signing was for 2 burials, 2 very prominent burials to be moved, and then again, 5 months later, for 17 more burials to be moved and reinterred. But what ended up is before the hotel was built, there were 340 burials that needed to wait for kapa to come from the South Pacific to be buried. And so the story keeps going. The burials keep being uncovered. And last year, in October, and this is in your report, it says that, again, Evie was found underneath the kitchen. They were digging for a 10 by 10 square space to put a grease trap in underneath the main kitchen, and they hit Evie yet again. That just shows us that Aole, no more digging at in this lot. But I'm really happy to see that someone noticed that this is a concern we have on Maui. But what I have not seen is this board take the responsibility for what was started because the board signed a memorandum of agreement that allowed them to build this hotel and disinter all of our Evie. Now, this Evie has been placed in gulches. They've been thrown away, I understand, taken out in buckets. We do not have the records, but you, Board of Trustees, OHA, have a memorandum of agreement that goes with the building of the hotel that states they must reinter and disinter respectfully. It is not respectful to throw our ancestors' bones away in white buckets. It is not respectful to not recognize where they are and to let us know where they have disposed of our iwi. Our groups have been working for 5 years to try to get this rectified, to get our ancestors to be able to be respectfully recognized and buried and respectfully placed in the original burial preserve that was made by the original memorandum of agreement. What has happened is that the hotel, the resort, has decreased the size by about a half, and they have, when they were doing all of their reconstruction and remodeling this year in 2023, they cut the corners of that burial preserve and drove their trucks right over our burial preserve, your burial preserve, the burial preserve that the OHA signatures on the MOA created. I think that the very least that we could ask for is that you come forward to respect our kupuna and see that the burial place that you have created for them is what it's supposed to be, the size it's supposed to be, and that they don't build buildings right into it and right next to it. That is not respectful. That is not respectful reinterment. And I wouldn't come to you except that we have been working against Blackstone for 5 years. And board, you've never come to help us. And I've asked you for help. And I have asked you for assistance with the legal fees. They've drawn this case out for 5 years, and it's going to go for more because we are not going to let them build swimming pools on our ancestors and dig them up again. But we need your help. And you put it in the report. I don't know what that means when you put it in the report. Does that mean that you think it's important too, and that you might do something? Can you do something to stop this desecration, to stop the building and the planned building upon our iwi kupuna? You, Board of Trustees of OHA, are the people who have come down from the original signers. I think it is your kuleana to really see that the iwi kupuna on the Grand Wailea, that they are all respectfully buried right where they are on the land. And if they're not on the land, we should know where they are so we can respectfully take care of them. I ask you again for help because we have gone to the SHPD, we have presented to them, we have presented to the Burial Council who said stop digging, no more disturbance, but the hotel doesn't have to listen to us. But they would have to listen to you because you have a contract with them. Please do what you started out to do, which is to see that there is respect for our iwi kupuna on this property. I thank whoever put it into your report because it is a really big problem that we continue to have. And respectfully to the people of Lahaina who have really pushed the bar forward in preservation and burial treatment. I think that I will come back tomorrow with more information for you, and I hope that you will come back with some kind of solution that shows that it's not just words in a report, that you mean this is a problem that this board can do something about. Thank you so very much for letting me speak tonight. Thank you so very
Claire.
much for letting me speak tonight.
Thank you, Claire. We will be back tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. here to have our Board of Trustees meeting. We invite you all to come, and we'd again like to thank all of you for coming tonight and meeting with us. We appreciate all of your testimonies, comments, stories, and don't think what you're saying fell on deaf ears. We are listening to everything, and we will have further discussions among the board members. At this time, I'd like to ask for a motion to adjourn. It's been moved and second. Board Secretary, roll call.
Aye.
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 Right.
Aye.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you.